The old lady. Sam's got a geriatric.
Dude. For old lady,
What
she was...
denture job?
Bruh.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Anime Summit podcast. I am Mac, and with me, I've got Nick the Fart Knocker Stoner.
Yellow.
And the amazingly wonderful Sam.
Wonder how many times Sam has done that exact one.
Probably a
know.
lot.
I'm guessing 3.
Probably
3
a lot.
times.
But it's okay. It's okay. So, before we start tonight, just want to say, because this episode will be coming out on Christmas Eve, I'm going to make sure of that. So, to all of our listeners, Merry Christmas from us.
Or Happy Hanukkah.
Everyone.
Or Kwanzaa, or
No,
Or-
guys.
or
Fuck that PC shit.
or-
Everybody celebrates Christmas, all right?
Merry Christmas.
God damn it, Nick.
Every person in the world
Like, just
celebrates
fucking...
Christmas.
That's why we lose listeners. Like,
Yeah.
No, you're gonna fucking unpack that present under the tree and you're gonna like it. Sing Silent Night.
Oh my god. Fucking
Man, no Christmas is complete without Die Hard, though.
so before we
I
get
just
in,
got to throw that out there.
So-
Die Hard, greatest Christmas movie ever made.
greatest Christmas movie ever made is obviously Nightmare Before Christmas. The fuck you
No,
mean?
that's technically a Halloween movie.
That's
but-
technically shut up.
and
You know,
the
that's a
hipster
funny way
answer,
to
so-
say Home Alone.
That's a funny way to
Ooh,
say.
yeah, these are all
That
pretty
is a
good.
Yeah,
funny way to say Home Alone.
Actually, Home Alone is great.
You know, just saying.
So later in the show, we're going to talk about another trade that happened. This time, it was me and Mac Attack. He traded me a show. I traded him a show. And it was great. He traded me Shinsekai Yori, or From the New World. And I traded him Martian Successor Nadesico, because I knew that he would love it, being a lover of sci-fi and porn.
Watch him just fucking destroy it.
But first off, I just want
2 out of 10.
I just want to just give a couple shout outs here. There's a couple reviews on iTunes. This guy, this one's really short. So he said, "Whoop, 5 stars," by Nalim from USA. Finally, all the other podcasts were dull as crap. They had no personality. ... This one has an abundance of it and individuality, and the arguing is just freaking hilarious. It is hilarious. Thank you.
We are hilarious.
We are pretty funny, I think.
Let's pat ourselves on the back and stroke our wieners.
Amazing podcast, 5 stars from NYC to 2KY. So I found this podcast about a month and a half ago and loved it. I started with the first show and couldn't stop. They have a great group dynamic, and it's really interesting to hear all the viewpoints. Sam, your love for Martian Successor made me remember how much me and my brother loved that show growing up. Dude, I grew up watching it with my brother too. And I am currently rewatching it. Keep up the great work. If you all get the chance, would love to hear your rankings on different Gundam shows. That is actually great.
What if that guy is your brother?
Dun, dun, dun.
You know, ever since that
Fucking
review got
Inception. Inception, man.
Ever since that
Oh
review
my
got posted,
God.
Quokka has done, or Nick has done nothing but try to demean it because he's just jealous that.
No, I didn't. I just said we shouldn't read everything, all these reviews, and jerk off for 20 minutes.
It's not going to take.
It's not going to
20
take
minutes.
20 minutes.
We're
Anyways,
partway there.
so I got to read this one because I got to. Anyways, the title of it is Fantastic, by Clannad Greater Than Your Lion April. Yes, I love you, by the way. That's awesome. And they say, I mean, the Weepcast is good to listen to every 3 months when you want to know which shows in the season are good, but these guys are seriously entertaining. Any other anime podcast just lulls me to sleep. Every member of Anime Summit, with their own distinct personalities and traits, mesh together for an enjoyable and entertaining podcast for 1 hour every week. Keep it up, guys. You are all great. P.S. Hey, Mac, it's awesome to hear a fellow euphonium player in this podcast. Fuck yes. Euphonium is the best brass instrument of all time.
Euphonium is
Of all time.
a great instrument.
Of all time.
Time to have the glory play, Mac. Bring it out.
I don't.
That should be our new intro song. Just Mac playing the euphonium, freestyling it. Just playing
maybe.
like Cruel Angel's Thesis or something. And
I'm just gonna
butchering it.
read. I'm just gonna read the last one since we read all of them pretty much. 5 stars. Great podcast. Highly recommend by the Cake One from the UK. This podcast is great. I've been going through their backlog and I've really been loving it. I can't stop pronouncing Hibike Euphonium as High Bike Euphonium now. Sam is really cool and gives a really interesting insight to the things they talk about. I am loving the podcast so far. I hope they keep making more. Listen. Don't listen to Nick, okay? The reason we read these on the show is because we wouldn't keep doing it if it weren't for these. So
You got that right. And
it's
it's awesome that you leave us reviews. That's fantastic. That tells us, hey, you're doing something right, or hey, you're a fucking moron.
or hey, I disagree with Sam. I think he needs to watch more One Piece or something. I don't fucking know. Even when you just leave a YouTube comment, I love reading those. So
I always forget to check those.
I know, me too. And then it comes up on my like little Google thing, but it comes up super late. It comes up like a day
I just
later.
assume they all say Nick is the best, and then that's it, you know?
There's actually a couple of them that do say Nick is the best. I'm pretty sure.
All right. 2 people.
No, more than a couple. There's a couple.
No, it's fine.
There's a bunch. I think there was one that even said Nick is underrated, or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Underrated Nick, based Nick.
Yep, this is true.
What a guy. What a guy,
So-
that Nick.
News for this week. I mean, I could say that Kimi no Na wa is the highest grossing Japanese film in all of China.
Yeah, that's not news.
Yes, it is.
Here we go.
All right, Mac. Call me when it cures cancer.
You mad?
Until then,
You
I don't
mad?
fucking care.
You mad? You fucking mad? You mad?
I got some real news, Mac. Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress, Season 2, greenlit, 2018. Prepare yourself
for Attack
for
on
some
Trains.
Snowpiercer plus Walking Dead. I don't fucking know. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So watch it, man. If you haven't seen Cabaneri, watch the first 7 episodes and then kind of pretend the last few didn't happen. But it's a great show.
It's great.
It's a great show.
Attack on Trains.
First 7
on
episodes
Trains.
of that show
Yeah.
were legitimately really fucking good. But once Biba came in, it was just like, oh, get out of there.
Chabaneri.
Yeah, Cabaneri of the Iron
Chabaneri.
Fortress.
Charcuterie of the Iron Fortress. Dude, you ever... Okay, you know what? I want to go to, like, a real charcuterie and eat cheese all day.
I didn't even know that was a word.
It's a real word,
Honestly.
charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
Charcuteries!
Sounds
Wait.
like you're pulling a fast one on me, Sam.
I don't know.
Just go to
I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is.
Anyway, we should move on. Who's the best girl of the week?
Eureka.
Waifu of the week.
Eureka.
Eureka Mitsumaru is best girl.
All right.
Well, what about Ruri, Sam? Wait, Quokka's not here.
Yeah, cool.
Oh man.
Yo, someone
She's
tell
12,
Quokka.
by the way.
Yo, someone tell Quokka to go to that Pokemon and get that burn heal, son.
I mean, if Quokka had been watching along with us, he would have got real excited when Ruri was in her little swimsuit and it showed off her tight stomach. Just saying. Just saying.
Stomach.
Her nubile young form.
Oh my freaking god, dude.
Gotta love that
Would
word.
you just look at those twin tails? I tell you what.
Would you just look at it?
Would you just look at
Don't
it?
talk. Twin tails are legit, though. I mean, on adults, of course, but you know, just gotta put that out there. So yeah, Eureka.
So
Sam.
thanks for joining
Or
us,
Eureka.
Quokka.
Eureka.
I don't, man. It's like, yeah.
It's not Eureka. It's Eureka, right?
Some people
Eureka.
say it's Eureka. Yeah. Eureka Mitsumaru. I think. How do you want to do? I think we should talk about Nadesico first, just because I feel like I have more to say about.
Well, plus she's from Nadesico. So
Plus, Eureka.
great segue.
Segue.
And Nick
Speaking of
builds the
Eureka,
segue.
Shinsekai Yori.
So
Speaking of Sam's cat, Smokey Hamtaro. Anyways,
speaking of Hamtaro, Ebichu.
Ebichu, yeah. I was gonna
Ebichu,
say.
yeah.
Anyway,
So back to best girl now that we got moderately
why
derailed.
is Eureka the best girl, Sam?
Let me tell you why, you dick. Listen, I felt really bad about trading Nick, probably the worst piece of garbage.
You fucking should feel bad. Although on the plus side, Sam, that did help me recalibrate a few scores. I was like, well, this is worse than that. And I gave him 3, so ReZero is now a 4 out of 10.
I traded Nick probably the one thing. Like, I traded him Boogie Pop Phantom. You all seen the episode, okay?
And I was excited for it because I got it confused with Phantom Requiem for a Phantom, which I've heard about.
That's
I'm
a good
oh,
show. I've heard.
Yeah, and I was like, no, it was not good. It was barfy,
It was really bad.
Little barfy.
as they would say on the Fantasy Footballers podcast. It was a barfy anime.
It was barfy. It was a little barfy. I felt really bad because it was like a standalone. It doesn't stand alone. You have to know everything else about it, and just doesn't get it. It's really bad. Anyways, so when I come back around to Nick, I'll give him something better, obviously. But so I wanted to give Mac this show not only because I wanted to redeem my trade habits, but I also wanted to give it to him because Mac is a big Trekkie and just a big sci-fi fan in general, and I knew that he would love this show, just because it really is just, aside from the fact that it's got a pretty nice story and great characters, and a juxtaposition of different genres, blend of genres, he would really like it because it's a big homage to like big robot anime, old school big robot anime like Getter Robo and Mazinger, and it's even got some Star Trek things in there.
Which I immediately caught whenever I saw them, and then did a minor little fanboy thing in the Discord about it.
Yeah. And just sci-fi, great sci-fi shows like that in general, where there's a ship, it's going through space, they're on a mission, and whatever. Although Star Trek's mission is, much bigger than, because this is also kind of a war drama. So, but anyway, Martian Successor Nadesico is by Studio Zebek. Zebek is currently doing Keijo, Big Butts, and I Cannot Lie.
You
Greatest
other brothers
studio of all
can't
time.
deny.
Yeah,
Did they do Hibernate Renmei? I don't remember.
I don't remember. No, yeah. I thought that. No, I don't think so.
Did they?
Let's find out.
I don't know.
Yeah, you find out. Anyways, it was directed by Tatsuo Sato.
Nope, that was Radix. There was an X in there. That's why I got it confused. Okay.
Oh, that's why he got it
Move along.
confused. You see
Studio
that?
Raditz. Damn it,
Tatsuo
Raditz.
Sato, he's done Azumanga Daioh. He's done the storyboard for Azumanga Daioh. He's directed Cat Soup, which is an OVA. He was the chief director for Lagrange, The Flower of Rin. He also was the director and scriptwriter for the Nadesico movie, series director for the TV series of Ninja Scroll. He's got a huge catalog. And the original character design concepts were by Kiya Asamiya, who's done the very old school popular Silent Mobius. They got them big noses. Yeah, that's Kiya Asamiya. That's him. Later, Kiya Asamiya did a manga on Nadesico, but it's vastly different. It's more serious. It's super different. I actually have some of the comic books, which I've read, and they're just weird. Anyways, Martian Successor Nadesico is about a ship called the Nadesico that was made by the industrial company Nergal Heavy Industries, and Nergal Heavy Industries was hired by the United Earth and Associated Forces to build these ships for them to go to war against the Jovians, which are from Jupiter. And soon they take over Mars, and that's where the two main characters, Akito Tenkawa and Yurika Mitsumaru, are from Mars. They're Martians. And some shit happens, whatever, they're childhood friends. But basically, Akito is a cook. He's just a regular dude. Something happens where the Jovians invade Mars, and the little bunker that him and a bunch of civilians are hiding in get attacked, and he somehow randomly teleports to Earth, and nobody knows how. And I'm trying to not spoil it, but anyway, they point that out in the show later how that is, of how he randomly transported to Earth right as he was going to get attacked by a Jovian. He randomly transports to Earth. And he tries to be a cook on Earth, and then he gets fired from his cooking job because he's got PTSD from the whole thing the invasion on Mars. and he somehow runs into Eureka Misumaru, and he ends up on the ship, the Nadesico, because Eureka Misumaru happens to be the captain. Even though she's this super ditzy chick, she's like happy-go-lucky, super ditzy. She scored the highest score in all of like the captain's tests, and that's why they chose her to be the captain. And her father is like an admiral for the United Earth Forces and all this other shit. So basically, the plan for the Nadesico is to take a mission to Mars and do some recon shit, okay? And there's big robots to fight off Jovians. Although the Nadesico is equipped with all its own weapons, they have these other robots called Estivales that Akito accidentally gets into one of them because he's retrieving a toy from one of the pilots that was in the machine, whatever. But, so the reason I gave this to Mac is because he's a big sci-fi lover. He would have got all the references, which he did. There's references to Space Battleship Yamato. Geki Ganger is the show within Nadesico that the main character watches. That's supposed to be a big homage to, Go Nagai and Ken Ishikawa's Getter Robo. There's a lot of nods to Captain Harlock from Galaxy Express and things like that. And I knew Mac would get those. I even knew Nick would get some of them too.
Yeah, have you guys seen Yamato at all? Because that's the only one of those I've seen.
I have seen some of it when I was younger. I have not.
There's the new version of it. The new version is way better.
Really?
I've watched bits of both, and I finished the new version, the one from a few years back. It's like an OVA series. It's like 10 times better.
So and Nick also.
Plus the chicks are really fucking hot. So
and Nick also watched Nadesico 2 along with us, and there's even nods to just anime in general, other than the fact that there's the fake Geki Ganger show in it. There's one of the communication. Yeah. Yeah, it does, yeah. One of the communications officers on the Nadesico, Megumi Hayashibara, is a voice actress. And they hire her because she has great communication skills, obviously. But, anyway. I think everyone pretty much knows, all of our listeners know how I felt about this show. I grew up watching it. I have all the tapes. That fandom goes all the way to the comics done by Kiyosamiya. I have an Estivales model that I couldn't put together because it didn't come with the instructions. I have all of the Crusade trading card game. I have the newest Nadesico set, which just came out, which is basically a set that's centered around Ruri, who's the computer person. She basically controls the Nadesico and the computer in it. I bought all that. I love Nadesico.
In Star Trek terms, she would be called Ops.
Yeah, she's they call
Ship
her the
operations.
cybernetic figure. Yeah. So Mac, I throw it to you, bro. What did you think of the show I gave you?
Not gonna lie, I really enjoyed this show, to be honest. I really, really did. It was a fantastic, fun watch, and you're right. It's got a ton of little nods and references. It breaks the fourth wall so much. It feels really happy-go-lucky most of the time. 2 Star Trek references in it that made me fanboy, and I was like, oh, this is what that is, and that's what that's from, blah, 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 and I went on a spiel on it, and they told me to shut the fuck up because I'm a damn Trekkie. But anyways, I thought that overall the show itself, it almost had this issue with it didn't take itself seriously enough, but it did. In the sense that it had a shit ton of comedy in it, but it also had this underlying serious plot to it. And I shudder to think how great it would have been if it would have just been a gritty kind of war drama and they cut out like 80% of the comedy. But that being said, it didn't really affect my overall opinion of it because the comedy and the character interactions and the character dynamics are just so damn good in this show that the comedy works. It's not forced. It doesn't feel out of place.
Yeah, I think of it. I think it's like primarily a comedy more than a serious show. It definitely
is. There is more comedy than there is.
It's way more comedy than serious.
It still has that very serious underlying theme to it and what's going on. And I mean, overall, I gave the show a very, very good score, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd probably watch it again. And probably the thing that hurt it the most, though, was the way that the show ended. Because here they go, steaming along, all the shit's happening, shit's blowing up, shit's getting destroyed, people dying left, right, up, down the middle,
Secrets are revealed. You know how Akito randomly transported.
Exactly.
You know how that stuff
works. Everything is falling into place. All the questions are being answered, and then it just rushes into the ending head first. It was almost like they got so caught up in weaving this excellent story that they never thought to look into how they wanted to end it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, apparently there's more story, but the creator doesn't want to make more.
Yeah.
And I think that's a shame, too, because it really was a pretty great show. It really was. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I got to say, Eureka, I didn't care for at first, but she kind of grew on me. Originally, I was a Megumi guy. I was not a Ruri guy because I'm not Quokka.
Dude, I'm all about that Haruka, man. She's hot.
Okay, whatever.
I just go for the hottest female character, regardless of anything else.
Even though it was probably more comedy than it ever was action, whenever the show does decide to get serious and shit really hits the fan, for that moment or two, it is pretty effective at doing that and portraying that. It's kind of one of those shows that I really wish would have just decided if it wanted to be a comedy or this action war drama show. It's one of those. I mean, it would be a shame, though.
I almost think of the drama as more comedy.
It would be a shame, though, because I'm kind of torn here because the characters work so well in that comedic setup.
It was a nice overall package, but then when you break it down, it's kind of hard to how do you watch it? You know what I mean?
Exactly. It kind of falls into this weird gray area, but I have no problem with that. I like things falling into gray areas. That's fine. Nothing has to be 100% this way or 100% that way. It doesn't have to be like that. Overall, though, thank you for giving me the show to watch. I thoroughly enjoyed every minute of it. I just wish that they had ended it better.
I agree. The ending basically just, the climax happens and then they explain what happens after and the outcome, and then that's it. You know what I mean? It kind of just doesn't.
And it was just kind of like conflict, big conflict resolution. And that was it. It was just...
Now, a couple of things that I just want to touch on before Matt gives his, score. I thought the mechanical design is really cool. I really love the design of the Estebalis and the Nadesico and the Nergal Cosmos.
I'm just saying...
ship.
I'm just saying, if the Nadesico had a tailpipe, I might stick my penis in it.
I might stick my pee-pee in there.
I might.
The mechanical design was done by 4 different people, but the guy who helmed it was Rei Nakahara, and he did Mobile Suit Gundam F90. He did Origin Spirits of the Past. He did the art design for that movie. He did Tekkaman Blade, the mechanical design for Tekkaman Blade. That's a classic. Brigadoon, he did the mechanical design. And Blue Seed and Betterman and Lagrange and all that stuff. So he's done. And Mazinger Edition Z, which is a newer Mazinger show. He did the mechanical design for that. I really like it. I will say this, just really quick. There is... my score on it's pretty high. I gave it it's kind of biased for me because I grew up watching it and I loved it. I always loved it. But I will say I can't agree with everything Max said because the ending did kind of screw it. There is a movie that takes place, called, Nadesico, the motion picture, The Prince of Darkness. It doesn't really give any more closure, and it takes a little bit more of a serious tone. It gives a new story about this terrorist group called the Martian Successors, and basically the Martian Successors want to continue the work of the original ideals of the Jovians, and all this stuff, and basically they want to harness the power of what made Akito transport, which I don't want to say because that's a big part of it, but they harness this power by experimenting on him and Eureka because they're both Martians, and Akito loses his sense of taste, which is very shitty as he's a chef, and he becomes this kind of hardened asshole in the movie. It's really crazy. I think it's just a cool movie if you want a little more, but basically it's just fan service. It's just people who wanted more, so they made it. You know what I mean?
So,
yeah, apparently it had some tie-in to a video game.
2 video games. Yeah,
some sort.
2 video games.
Yeah. Anyway.
That were both on Sega Saturn and Dreamcast, respectively, which is The Blank of 3 Years and The Mission. Even when playing The Mission, which takes place after the movie, you're still left hanging. So it's I would just avoid those and just watch the show. That being said, Mac, what is your final score on the Nabisco scale?
well, my final score on the Nadesico scale, Nadesico, whatever scale.
That's where the joke comes from.
Yeah, you see what I did there?
We did
it, guys.
We did it. It's probably in the Teddy Graham area, to be honest. It's probably in the Teddy Graham area.
I have to pull up the Nabisco scale again. I forgot.
One does not simply forget
Where is the Teddy Graham?
Nabisco scale.
It's in the upper. It's in the upper
It
quartile.
Is. It is
Quartile.
And I would recommend that.
Glasses
I would
push.
recommend that
Indeed.
show to anybody. To be honest, it's such a fun watch. Just watch it. You're
it's
doing
great.
yourself a service by watching it.
There's little moments in it too that are just really cool. There's one little moment in it where the head chef of the ship is talking to Akito about this soldier who's dying, and it just hits you so hard. It's really good. I really like it. And there's a lot of cute moments and funny moments. I don't know. It's just great. It's a nice little package.
So what Sam is saying is he gives it a Evangelion on the Nabisco scale.
Yeah, Sam gives it an Oreo, and then Evangelion is actually a Triscuit.
Nah, dude. So Nick gives me shit because he thinks that.
I still don't think that Sam likes Evangelion as much as he likes Nadesico. Just admit it, Sam. Admit that you like it more, and there's nothing
It's apples
wrong with
and
that.
oranges. I don't know, man. Evangelion's this.
Oh my God! Just admit it.
No,
to yourself.
Evangelion has its.
Get out of the fucking
Evangelion
closet.
has its own list.
Do you hear the reverence in your voice when you're talking about Nadesico, Sam? It's like not even close to any other show.
I actually
You're
remember.
like, Martian Successor.
I actually
Nadesico.
remember talking about.
You're like crying. when you
I
say
actually
it.
remember talking about my movie theater experience going to see the Rebuild movies.
Yeah, I know.
And I was
know,
getting
but
pretty emotional then too. I still get emotional talking about those movies, which you still haven't seen yet.
That could have been an act.
Which
though.
you
I
still
don't
haven't
know.
seen because you refuse to watch them because you're a bitch.
Watch
Yeah.
what? The rebuilds? I'll watch them once the fucking 4.0
Why are you talking about
comes out,
even?
or
This is not about
3.0 plus
Evangelion. Stop talking
1.0.
about it. Move on. Okay. Anyways.
You're the one who brought it up.
Anyways, Nick sniffs butts.
I give it a Nilla wafer out of. Oh wait, God, these tiers are fucked up. We need to redo this scale. I'm gonna give it a little below a Teddy Graham. I'll give it a wheat thin.
Wheat thins are great.
Because here's the thing. I liked it. It was pretty good. Not gonna lie, I watched it all on my phone, so it's in a tiny screen. It was wacky. The only things that I didn't that kind of brought it down a little bit for me was like the lack of the in-show soundtrack. There wasn't really much soundtrack in the show. There was a good OP. That was a really good OP, but like that was about it for me. And then also it moved a little too quickly, is like scene to scene to scene, character to character.
Oh, that's one thing I love.
There's a little bit. And I know it's a comedy, so it works for that and to some extent. But still, I like it. I would like it if it was a little bit more deliberate with that, with the directing style. And then one minor thing is like whenever they got into the battles, it was not. They didn't animate them very. There wasn't a lot of cool fighting like you'd see in Sunrise Gundam shows and stuff with like crazy Sakugan, machine parts.
Or like
moving and
in
all that.
Eureka
It was
7.
more just wacky. And, yeah. Which is Bones. I
Bones.
think.
Bones.
Anyway.
Bones.
Bones.
He knew that the bones were broken.
I would probably like it a little more on a rewatch. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was worth watching.
I would say in another world, I'd probably hate it. And then,
Speaking
of
I was
another
sitting
world,
here fucking sipping my tea, and then I'm like, shit, I gotta swallow this, and then motherfucker comes in and takes my Segway. Really?
take the segue. Mac,
And on that bombshell, it's time to talk about Shinsekai Yori, a.k.a. From the New World.
take it away, Mac.
Cue the duck oboe
Cue the
sound.
Cue the Obi-Wan Kenobi oboes. So, Nick, that's beautiful.
It's my shitty oboe.
That's beautiful. I just want you to know.
We got our intro now.
I teared up a little bit.
I hope that's not the intro.
Shinsekai Yori from the New World. A little bit of background as far as production and stuff goes on this one. It was produced by A1 Pictures in 2012. And funny thing about that is that another show was produced by A1 Pictures in 2012. The greatest anime of all time with a certain
Martian Successor Nadesico.
GG. With a
it's
certain
like 8
swordsman that wears
Or no,
black. And they're trapped in a virtual reality. And it rhymes with sword fart online.
Never do math on a podcast,
Mac,
fellas.
Mac.
That was 16 years, not 8 years.
Hey, Mac, where'd you learn?
I'm like, it was 8 years after it. That'd be 2004.
Jeez.
Mac, where'd you learn that joke? The School of Performing Farts. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, dude,
Got
same.
him.
So, Shinsekai Yori, the premise to this story is, well, if you read the synopsis kind of works, but I'll paraphrase and make my own synopsis on this one. So, Shinsekai Yori as a whole starts out pretty damn slow in the first 5 episodes, I think it was, 5 or 6 episodes.
I would even say just even the first 4, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm running off of memory from over a year ago. So,
Gotcha.
basically, Shinsekai Yori, ask yourself this. Do you like dystopias? Whenever you were in school and you had to read George Orwell's 1984, did you become slightly aroused at the idea of being ruled by the government? If you did, well then I've got news for you. Shinsekai Yori is the anime for you. So,
For real.
For real. So, you start out at the beginning of this. You got this one scene at the very beginning, and you're like, what in the hell is going on here? And then you skip to these kids playing on a hill. It's getting dark. And the whole first episode kind of feels really weird, almost really distant.
Unsettling and dreamlike,
Yes,
sort of.
very, very unsettling. And they go through this, and you find out relatively quickly that these people can use psychic abilities. They're like espers. It's like
It's called Cantus.
yeah, they're called Cantus. And that's what
They're all mob psychos.
Yeah, that's what gives
They're all
them.
mob
It's what gives them
psychos.
the ability to do psychic shit and cool shit
Oh
and
my
fight
God.
shit. You know,
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
particularly PK or psychokinesis.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, that's what PK Fire means. Holy shit.
Are you fucking for real, Nick?
I just realized that. Ness from
Meanwhile,
Super
Nick's
Smash
mind
Brothers.
From
gets
Earthbound.
blown.
What is it, Earthbound? No, he's from Super Smash Brothers, Sam. Let's not mince
my
fucking
God.
video games here.
Oh
all
my
right?
god. Okay, go ahead, man.
PK Fire!
So
PK Fresh!
as far as the cast of this show goes, you start out with your four main cast members. You got Saki, Satoru, Shun, and Maria. Right, little kids. They're going through school, but
Well, Mamoru
something. Yeah, Mamoru too. Yeah,
Yeah,
I forgot
Mamoru
him.
Hosoda, dude. Don't forget about him.
Don't forget about
So-
Mamoru.
Put a little respect on him.
Put respect on his name.
Put a little respect. So, anyways, they're going through school, they're practicing their PK powers and Cantus and all this other shit.
PK fire.
And as kids do, they get a little curious about things, and they find out more and more shit about what the world is that they're living in. And the show itself encompasses probably, I'd say it probably takes place in a time frame of 10 or 15 years, you think? Somewhere in that area?
Well, plus 1,000. Because they're way in the future.
I'm going to have to believe that, you motherfucker.
That's not a spoiler. That happens in the first episode. They explain it in the first episode.
Do they?
Yeah,
well, they
like
briefly do. They say 1,000 years later.
Oh.
It's kind of weird.
Oh wait, are we doing no spoilers though? By the way,
I was gonna say maybe we should do spoilers on this one because it's really hard not to.
Yeah,
but
I'm having to dance around a lot on what I say.
But maybe
we could just say first part no spoilers, second part.
It's a great show. It's a dystopian society. It's gonna fuck with your mind, and it's got supernatural elements to it, and you really, 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 really should watch it.
Agreed.
And so Mac traded this to me because, I obviously this was one of the other shows that he kind of went on about, kind of like how I went on about Nadesico. And I think after I traded that to him, he was kind of like, okay, hold on, let me go through my shit, right? And then he traded me this one because he was like, this is also one I go on about, so I'm going to trade it to you. It is a little slow at the beginning, but, whatever. But basically,
they're world building. They're expositioning. They got to do it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That first scene happens where it's in Tokyo, right? It's very brief, and there's cars and shit and whatever. And then for some reason I thought it went back to the feudal era because I must have not been paying attention.
I mean, it kind of did. It went into the future, but in the future they don't have all those cities and stuff.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
It's explained later in the show why they don't have big cities.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean. And I wasn't paying attention, obviously, because then later when they revealed that the development and the evolution of people who could use psychokinesis or Cantus started this big societal breakdown of the world.
I'm cringing right now with what you're saying.
The world was rebuilt as such, and so these kids are going to school to curve their PK, and there's all these rules.
They call it Cantus, by the way.
Cantus,
no,
yeah.
they have to curve
Cantus
their player killing. They have to curve.
They have to curve their Cantus. They're raised a specific way, and these teachers at these schools are there to instill these values and rules on them as they grow into adults. Then you and this is the great part about it, okay? At the beginning of the show, there's 6 of these kids in this group of friends. And without missing a beat, and with it, they very, very, very sly, very slick, they took one of those characters out. And I wasn't even thinking about it until 5.
No, that was episode 1.
Yeah, it was episode 3.
They lost one in episode 1.
Right, but then it's okay, whatever. I just watched it, so I don't know what you're talking about. Until 10 episodes later when they bring it up again. They're like, wasn't there 6 of us? So anyways, very, very slick, she was gone, and I didn't even think about it. They did a very good job of doing it so quickly that you didn't even think about it. And like Nick said, they do it so early on that it's just it was weird. It was weird to me.
So
then there was 5 of them.
Real quickly here, what do you score this show as?
I scored it at 8 out of 10. I give it an 8.5 because.
Wait, are we already done talking about the show?
No, we're not. We're getting the scores out of the way so I can fucking lift the spoiler ban.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
sure.
yeah. So
we're not doing spoilers now. Okay, yeah, I'll give my score. Yeah, I gave it. I also gave it an 8, but my score is much harsher than Sam's, so take that for what you want. I don't know. It was good. I think I think Shinsekai Yori is one of the best shows this side of 2010.
I think I'm gonna hit the spoiler button now. Beep. Anyways, here we go. So if you heard that beep, get out of here. Leave the room and come back with your pants off, please. So the thing is this show is so scary to watch because it is only in episode 4 when they run into this creature who actually turns out to be a library of information.
Yeah, and the false Minishiro.
Yep, the false Minishiro. And this creature starts revealing all this info to them, like, this is what happened when people started discovering Cantus. This is why you are the way you are now. This is why you go to school for this reason, and all this shit. And then a monk, like a monk finds him and is like, no. So he kills the false Minishiro and all this stuff. And it turns out that if you harm another person with your Cantus, this thing called death feedback happens in your body where your liver fails, your kidney fails, and you die. And they started messing with the DNA and the evolution of Cantus users way back in the day to instill that in Cantus users' bodies.
Well, early on with this, there was 3 distinct groups of people. There was, as you know, there was the people who could use Cantus, the people who couldn't use Cantus, and there was the people who were smart as fuck, pretty much.
The scientists is what they call them.
They were the smart as fuck people. So
that's also what we call them.
Exactly, the smart as fuck people.
Scientists.
So the one thing that I really enjoyed about this show is that how they just trickle down enough information to you as you're watching this before you get the big reveal, as in, where in the hell the rat people come from, the queer rats, where in the hell they come from. And that just makes the ending so much more potent in this. But literally everything about this show is so fucking dark, and it's so refreshing because
I wouldn't say all dark.
A lot of it
there's not really any comedy in it at all. Like
there's not comedy, but it's serious, but it's not dark. Like some parts of it are dark, but like
the whole overarching story of it is pretty damn
There's
dark.
light at the end of the tunnel in the story. There's hope in the story. It is dystopian. But
because of the main characters. But I mean,
this isn't technolized, Mac. No,
Technolized, fuck me up,
that's like
fam.
all dark.
Fuck me up, fam. Technolized.
Exactly, but with all of that being said, there is literally no other show like this one. None.
And
none exactly like it. Yeah, it's fairly unique. In anime, sort of. I mean,
I think the way they told the story was great too, because the first part of it, the kids are 12. The next part of it, they're 14.
Yeah, they get time skips. They grow up.
Yeah,
it's not a coming of age story though. Don't get that confused.
Definitely not a coming of age story. Okay,
it's not what it's about.
In 25 episodes, though, it is able to put these 3 different times and show the evolution of the society and how everything breaks down. There's even a point where all that stuff that the false Minishiro has told them starts happening to one of them, Shun in particular, and they cast him out to go and die by himself, and it's this crazy shit. And 2 of them end up running away because they're like, fuck the rules, we're not going to live in this society.
Yeah, the red hair girl.
Yeah, Maria and
the hot girl.
Mamoru. Yeah.
She's the best girl because she's the hottest.
You know what?
That's how these things work.
She is the hottest. Actually, I thought the old lady, the head of the one committee.
The old lady. Sam's got a geriatric
for old lady, she was...
What's your job?
Bruh. For our old lady,
you want to
live
live forever?
Hot.
You just gotta use your powers to
Chum out.
And eat some prune juice.
Chum out now. Tomiko-sama, that's her name. Whatever, she was hot. She's a grandma I like to Facebook. She's a gilf. So she's like the head of the board of education or some shit. Anyway, as everything is unraveling, okay, what was going through my mind when I was watching it, and I'm figuring out these reveals are coming at enough. They're sprinkled out throughout the whole anime just enough to keep you grasping at straws. You're just like, fuck,
yeah, it's a thriller.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I was tripping, yo, and shit was like. But the thing I'm trying to get at here is, okay, here's the point I'm trying to make. Okay, here it is. That shit that's like real life. Okay, the breakdown of society because of something so massive and just destructful to our society. Is destructful a word? Something so
Destructive.
something so destructive. Sorry, yeah,
Destructful.
Use
fucking
your
Trisha.
words.
Fucking Trisha in the background. She's like destructive. Shut up, woman. So like,
Oh, we got our one mispronounced word per podcast.
yeah. Pat labor. So freaking
Facade.
facade.
Choreography.
Shut up. So like choreography. I'm trying to be serious. Be serious. Okay, so here's the thing.
Paid
Is-
labor.
Pat labor. I'm gonna kick your ass. Okay, so Pat labor. So freaking as things are unraveling and these government rules are coming in, they're figuring out more shit, and Saki is like, she stays. It's weird because, and they even mention it in the show too. Maria mentions it to her. She's like, "I'm running away, but you're staying and enduring all this. Like you're staying to keep figuring out more stuff and try and figure out the truth. You know what I mean?" And the main character Saki is like, she's like, "No, I'm not strong at all." And she's like, "You are though, because you're literally staying within these walls to try and figure out all this shit." You know? And there's all these weird creatures and things like that, and the queer rats. You know, the queer rats live outside of the barrier that they made, and they're like these weird mole people. And it's just like,
Yeah, they're like, well, the queer rats are basically slaves to the humans, and the humans use them to kill other humans so they don't trigger their death feedback.
They're what happens whenever you're neither smart nor a Cantus user.
yeah. So, like what Nick said too, like that's the whole idea. Like when they casted Shun out for him having a weird break in his Cantus like powers.
Yeah, because he was too strong, and he just couldn't control it, and it would like overflow and just destroy a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Destroy everything.
Yeah. Yep.
So he was a Carmen Demon or a Fiend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carmen Demon, I think.
Yep.
Fiend is like the one where they actively try to like
Kill everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a karma demon, which
there's a Fiend later in the series,
yes.
which was created by the Queer Rats
Yes.
and Squealer, the best character.
yeah, Squealer.
We did a really bad job like telling what the Queer Rats are and like what's the basic.
We
premise of
did.
this.
We did kind of.
So like pretty much the kids learn about like how their origins and the humans and Cantus and all that from Minishiro, and then they meet the Queer Rats, they meet Squealer, and he like talks with what's her name, Saki, and the rest of them, and they escape back to their village, and then Shun becomes like a fiend or a karma demon, so he has to go off, and then Saki finds him, and then she like learns more of the truth, and then Maria and the kid Mamoru run away at some point, and there's like this then at that point like time passes, right? And then there's like a little bit of a time skip, and the Queer Rats eventually attack the humans.
They revolt.
But
Yeah.
but how they
It's
do
kind
it,
of like a final arc, and
how they do it though, is so fucking crazy.
It is.
It really is.
yeah, it's like guerrilla warfare type stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because-
with they create a fiend.
Because whenever Sam was talking about the what was that called, Sam? The where if you hurt another person,
The death feedback.
death feedback. Yes,
feedback.
that's what it's called. The whole thing with the death feedback is that it relies entirely on how you view people. And the really cool thing about Shinsekai Yori is that the humans do not view the Queer Rats as people, even though they are. They're humans themselves. They've just been altered. So
Yep.
whenever Maria and Mamoru run away, well, it gets a little frisky. They have a kid. Queer Rats find out, kill both of them, take the kid, raise it, turn it into a monster, and then sends it off to kill humans. And it's like, holy shit. It's because she sees herself as a Queer Rat, not as a human. So you have this crazy shit of people trying to deal with like their daughter because she's so fucking OP, and it's just, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, they can't kill her because it would kill themselves.
Their death
Exactly.
feedback would
Before they try to
react
do it.
if they killed her. Yeah, and it was just this. As these secrets were unraveling, so was the village and the characters in the show, and that's what I was trying to get at earlier. And I was rambling. I apologize.
Yeah, and
There's so much to cover with the show.
Yeah, there is. There
It's
really is.
hard to
yeah,
talk
basically
about
the
it.
show is trying to go at like the themes of like if people can't think for themselves or they don't want to think for themselves, then the world, you know, goes downward.
Right, and the big part of that was the fear of Cantus, and which it's like it's when you think about it, if you were in the situation, it's almost kind of like, you know, there's this one person with all the power. What do we do? You know, it's like the Akira wave. You know, when Tetsuo got the Akira wave in him, you know, in the movie, it's just like, what do we do? This guy has all these powers. We have to stop him. You know what I mean? And because of the way things went down, Cantus users started becoming more and more, and it was just because of that societal breakdown and that whole war. That's how society is now. It's controlled, completely controlled. And
yeah, and I mean they would they would cull out their population based on personality traits and tests that they would perform on like the kids. So like you know, if you're a kid and you don't get your powers soon enough, then you're gone. Or if you exhibit any kind of aggressive traits and you don't work with a group, then they just like they take you away and they rewrite. What they did is they rewrite the other kids' memories so they wouldn't know.
Exactly. And
Right.
Like
you get your
it was
first
just
taste of
all
that.
in service of trying to protect themselves from another fiend, because the fiends can just kill people with their minds. Like they would just blam, you explode. Like
Yep.
so.
The crazy thing, though, is that is introduced so early. Like, literally, what was it, the second or third episode, whenever Saki's at her house and she overhears her parents talking, and they say something along the lines of, I don't want to lose another one. And you're like, but she's an only child. And then you're like, oh, shit. And that's pretty much where everything in this show starts hitting the fan.
Actually, almost like the first part of the show where that song started playing, I was like, oh.
right.
Yeah.
Like a couple minutes in, I'm like, oh, this is going to be scary.
But overall,
Turn on the lights.
if you're still listening and you haven't watched this show, even though we may have spoiled you, you still need to watch it, because however we try to describe this, it's not going to do it justice. You just got to watch it. That's all there is to it. It's a magnificent show.
The ending on this show, unlike Nadesico, the ending makes the show stronger because they finally fend off the Queerats and Squealer, and they like put him to death into like this eternal like punishment, basically.
Well, what they do is they torture him and burn him, and then they heal him as they are doing.
Yeah,
that.
with Cantus and stuff like that.
So
there-
he
there's-
keeps having to feel.
He's
pain.
like he's like in like kind of a display. He's on display, his like mutilated body or whatever.
Yeah, because they healed him so much that he's basically just a huge chunk
yeah,
of scar
so like
tissue.
humans are trying to keep that as a reminder, you know, to not let society break down again. But then Saki, you know, she said like things could have been different, and like she took pity on him and finally killed him. And then it's like this slow ending, and I don't remember the exact scene because I haven't seen this in a while, but it's just like really strong where the ending
They're
not just purely vindictive. It's kind of hopeful at the end, but you're not entirely sure yet. So.
Well, and Satoru and Saki get married, and he kind of looks at her and he's like, "Do you think this is gonna work?" And she's like, "Things will be different this time," you know. And it's, you know, she was nominated to be the head of one of the big like things or whatever. So I think that's what she's working towards.
Yeah.
So there is that really nice light at the end of these really, really overruled and dark society, and it was just a really great ending, I think.
It was a beautiful way to end a beautifully done show. It's
Yeah,
and Nick, you're absolutely right whenever you said this is in the top list of anime that have aired since 2010. That's
Yeah,
head
even
head of the nail right there.
all around, I would say it's in the top 100 anime of all time, if not top 50.
Well,
maybe
it's
better than
rated.
that. Like,
it's
really
rated
good.
number 91 on Mal.
Yeah, don't fucking listen to Mel.
It's rated number
rates,
91
Mel
on
rates
Mal.
Evangelion 200 and ReZero at like 50. So
This is true. Fuck
Fuck that.
ReZero. But anyways,
But, like, it's one thing I want to say. Another is that that was a really badly structured sentence. One more thing I want to say is that the animation in the show it's not like crazy Sakuga like One Punch Man, but the style and direction is very striking, and it's really gorgeous at times. Like there's the scene where Maria
the cinematography is gorgeous,
Yeah.
and how they do the scenes is gorgeous, but the animation
how they-
itself is kind of lackluster.
Yeah, the animation itself is kind of inconsistent, but then like they have these great moments. Like there's the one with Maria saying sayonara. I still remember that. I still have
Yep.
like that image in my head,
Yep.
even like a year and a half later. And it's just like it's really fun to look at and also listen to, because the soundtrack, unlike Nadesico, it just permeates the whole show.
Yep.
It's really it really lifts up the themes and like the situation, and makes everything, more ominous and increases that paranoia and stuff, and it's great. The ending theme in the show is also one of the best ending theme. I think it might be my number one favorite ending theme of any anime I've seen
Of all time.
Shinsekai Yori.
Of all time.
Yeah, the ending
Yeah,
theme was great.
it's up there. It's number 1 or 2 or 3. Like
It's
great.
fantastic. It really is.
So, I mean, honestly, would recommend. I give it 8.5 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 10 is because, the animation is whatever. I don't think it's bad. It's just, it was done the same year that SAO was, and I think with better animation, it could have really driven it home. And also, there's a couple episodes at the beginning and in the middle, and in the end middle, where they're kind of slow, and you kind of wish that they would just go on to the next thing, because all the stuff that's coming out, you're just like, oh, you're on the edge of your seat a little bit. Other than that, it's great. It's a great show. I don't really have that much negative shit to say about it at all.
Revisiting this actually makes me reconsider the way that I scored this one. I think I put a little bit too much weight in my personal thought as far as how it looks overall all the time. While the cinematography is great, the animation does get really lackluster at times, and I think I was a little hard on that, and that's why I originally rated
I think the
it.
animation looks good. I mean,
I think it looks good. There's a couple parts where it looks
you have
great
to set
too.
it beside SAO and think of what it could have been. But anyways, I gave it an 8 out of 10 originally. I'm probably going to adjust that to a 9 at least, because it's...
Oh, I thought you had it at a 10, because you
No.
always talk about it, so I just assumed you had it at a 10.
it's not a 10 out of 10. It's not Hibike Euphonium.
Okay, sure. This is why animation is the only thing that matters in anime.
You mad?
That's why One Punch Man is popular. Had animation.
Okay.
It's all you need.
Say your words about it, Nick. We got to move on.
I think we all gave the show like the same score, but our scores are like very different meanings. I think Mac should have given the show a 10 based on how much he likes it, and then Sam a 9, and then I'll give it an 8. I might even bump it up to a 9. I don't know. If I rewatch it, I might give it a 9. But yeah, like Shinsekai Yori, it's just really good atmosphere. Everybody should watch it. If you like other shows, if you want another dystopian show, I would recommend Technolize. It's from 2002, I think, but it's another dystopian show that's really dark. It's not. I don't know. I don't know if it's as good as Shinsekai Yori, but they're different types of shows, and another well-directed show there, Madhouse.
And with that being said, before we end, gotta throw this out there. Anime Summit live stream of the best of 2016 will be on Wednesday, December 28th, brought to you live from Minnesota, where all four of us will be sitting down together and giving each other a hard time about what we picked. So you should definitely tune into that. If there are any changes, just check Discord or Twitter, though you should already be following us there. Yeah.
That's true. You should.
But yeah,
cool.
We'd be much appreciated if you could check it out. I'm going to make sure, though, that we have recordings of all of that, and it will be accessible on the YouTubes if you cannot watch it. Of course, we understand with it being the holiday season. So stay tuned for any more details on that. There'll be other live streams throughout the week that we'll come out with or do whatever. Hell, who knows? But anyways, we've gone a little long. Quick final thoughts. Emphasize the quick.
Eureka Best Girl. Maria Best Girl. Shinsekai Yori Best Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Martian Successor Nadesico Oreo Best Girl.
Mm-hmm. Nick, final thoughts?
Give me a good show, Quokka, please. No,
I'm
Boogie
sorry.
Pop
I'm
know-
sorry.
I understand that statement in the fullest.
Dude, I shat
I
on
gave
it
you
so
School
hard.
Days, Mac, but Mac, at least School Days is better than Boogie Pop Phantom by a lot.
School Days is better than Boogie Pop Phantom. Yes.
By a lot.
You know,
But
I'm just gonna say this is my final thought. Saki is actually the best girl of Shinsekai Yori. Get on my fucking level. And on that
I'll fight you
bombshell,
IRL, Mac.
on that bombshell, now that I've made people angry, I'm Mac. With me, I have had Sam, Nick, and still Cam Fartica is nowhere to be found. And this is the Anime Summit Podcast.
dude, he died. Well, you saw him? Nah, he died.
No, didn't you hear? He had death by tossed salad.
That's true. He can return by toss.
And on the third day, he tossed again.